about evaluating your units from the scrimmage Friday night? What did
From
you
the
see
scrimmage
with
Friday
first and
night?
second units?
Well, let me just put it this way. Like anything, when you first get here, whatever unit you take over, first of all, let me say this. No place in the world I'd rather coach, no place in the world I'd rather live. Love it here. Loved it here my first stay, and I'm really fired up that the head coach, Coach Sutherland, brought me back in here. I'm excited. To answer your question, you know, did they play well? They played better than they played on Friday night. And then the great thing about today was they played a lot better today than they did Friday night. Now, is it good enough? No. But like anything, okay, in this profession, you know, you're building. So from day one to now, are they building? Are they getting better? Yes, they are. So I am happy with the progress, but there's a long way to go with this crew.
How has tempo played a factor in everything? Because Coach Selman has really preached about how they're wanting to do more plays and pick up the tempo and everything's fast. And
Right.
how has that played a factor into this group?
Yeah, tempo has changed college football. And it's changed it at every level. You can see Chip Kelly's teams in the NFL, and there are numerous other teams. The Patriots are even doing it now in the NFL. The tempo has changed line play dramatically, and it's really put a lot of stress on conditioning. It's put a lot of stress on defensive conditioning as well. They have to get up and they have to reload, and the play's coming at them a lot quicker than it has in the past. Like, for instance, 20 years ago, you know, you got in the huddle, you broke the huddle, the play was, you know, a minute later you were on to the next play. 40 seconds later you're on to the next play. Now you can be on to the next play in 28 seconds, 22 seconds. So with that being the case, you have to do less because you have to be able to get back on the line of scrimmage and go, and the front may not necessarily be lined up. So you have to be ready for them not to be lined up, so you have to call things where you're really area blocking a lot of the times so that people can go to an area in case the defense isn't lined up. So there's challenges on both ends. You know, you can't do as much, but you have to do it well. Both teams have to be in great condition. The defense can't do as much either because you're on the line of scrimmage so quickly that they have to reload as well, and so there's a lot of pressure on both teams.
When you say that you are getting better and still have ways to go, is it a matter mainly of just polishing technique, or what are some of the things that you look at and say, okay, this is where we're making progress, but we got to get better?
Yeah, first of all, there's a lack of experience with that front. So, you know, the left tackle, Genesee, he's the only one that has a full season worth of experience under his belt. So he's got 13 games under his belt. And then Sutherland has 5 games under his belt. And then London has 1 game under his belt. So this is pretty much your experience. And a couple of guys have played sparingly. So you have about 19 games experience from that whole unit. Now, of course, you know, going into this season, is that the setup for an excuse? In no way, shape, or form. So these guys will be ready to play, but they lack experience. And so with that experience, that's why the repetitions are so important. That's why I was supposed to be in here with you guys about 20 minutes ago, but there's no way I could give up those 20 minutes because those 20 minutes, when you add them up down the road, okay, are going to make a huge difference for these guys. So every rep I get with these guys every day is so critical to their development that I've obviously got to utilize that time now.
What do you want to do you think, with Keaton Sutherland? Because I know he's not here. He's not able to practice.
Yeah.
But I heard that he could play. He's good enough to play tackle, but he's a return starter at guard. Do you have any thoughts on?
Absolutely. Of course I do. In my time in the NFL, it taught me one thing, one main thing, which is you want players that can play more than one position. You know, in the NFL, you only go into a game with 7 players, so those other 2 guys better be able to play more than one spot. And here, it's the same thing. Like when I recruit right now, and guys I recruited in the past, they could play more than one position. And that being the case, to put it in context to what you're asking, he can play more than one position. He's smart enough to play center. He's got 5 games experience, so he's got a little bit under his belt. He's played a little bit of tackle, a little bit of guard. He's smart enough to play center, so when you converse with him, when you put him in those situations and his intellect, he does a great job. So I know he's capable of doing that. I've expressed that to him. I want him to be a backup center. I want him to be able to back up at all the other positions as well. I think he's versatile that way. Does that mean he won't be a starter? No, he's got a good chance of being a starter. Obviously, you're not going to hold it against him because he got injured. So it's not going to be held against him. It's real simple in the end. You're going to play the best 5 players you got in here. And I think that says a lot to your credibility as a coach, of course, and it says a lot to what you're trying to do as a team. Obviously, you got to put the best product on the field. So if he's better than the other players in camp, if he's better than one of them, he's going to be a starter. So it really doesn't give you a solid answer as to where he's going to play. Right now, he looks like he'll be playing either guard position. Okay, that would be our stress. You know, our tackles look like our tackle's going to be all right. Our guards, they're going to do a good job as well, but I would say he's a little bit more comfortable at the guard position right now.
After spending some time in the NFL, not coming back to college,
Yeah.
what's been the biggest adjustment for you, if anything?
Well, the biggest adjustment is I'm going to be recruiting again. So in the NFL, when you're done with work at the end of the day, you know, it's 5 o'clock, you go home. So in college, you know, you're obviously going to have to recruit and you're going to have to spend time with the high school kids and so on. It's part of the job that I love. If you don't love recruiting, then you're in the wrong business in college. You got to move to, you either got to go to high school or the pros. So if you don't love it, now here's the benefits of recruiting. I get to go back on the road, and I get to go into Louisiana, eat my boudin and my shrimp etouffees, and those are things that I love to do. So there are benefits there as well.
Last time you were here, Jim, you built a foundation that lasted even after you left in the offensive line.
Yep.
What do you see now? Is there any comparison when you walked here the first time, walking in the second time?
Yeah, I love the challenge of building. So, you know, the linemen that I inherited, I'll treat these kids like they're my son and like I recruited them. So you can't, you know, I didn't recruit them, but they're my responsibility. No holds barred, they're my responsibility. And I will get the most out of these players. But now the challenge of bringing in new players and building another line here and making that line do the things that I want them to do and finding the guys that I want, you know, to fit the system that we have. That challenge to me is the ultimate. I love that part of this game. And, you know, I've obviously proven myself with the first crew that I brought in here the first time, and it's probably part of the reason that I'm back here now. So that being said, you know, I consider that my biggest challenge as far as, you know, filling those spots as we go. And in no way, shape, or form when I say that is anybody that's here being overlooked. We have some really good football players in this deal right now.
In terms of recruiting, are you seeing, you know, I know you can't name specific recruits, but when they do come to talk with you and come to A&M, are you seeing them, I guess, associate you to Jake Matthews, to Luke Jokel, to Patrick Lewis, and the guys that
Right.
you did put in the NFL?
Yeah, we're trying to do that right now to associate, get them to see that. Because the problem you have is, you know, they don't always associate with those guys. And so you have to remind them, you know, a lot of them wouldn't know. They don't know who the O-line coach is. Who knows the O-line coach? So you have to remind them of that. So there is a little bit of a project that way to try and remind them that this coach is a guy that's been proven to bring great players in here and develop those players. So, you know, that's obviously a stress for us.
Couple more?
I think when Coach Sutherland was reaching out to you to try to bring you back here to coach the O-line, was there one big thing that he was wanting you to do, like one big goal that he had in mind at all, and he was trying to pitch you the job?
Well, I come in here and interview with everybody else. This is a job that guys like me want. So nobody pitched me on the job. You know what I mean? Like I had to come in and fight for this job. Like there was other great candidates for this job. And so that being said, I think what it came down to was this. When I interview at A&M, like I said, I love it in this place. So when I interview here, it's a natural for me. It's not like I struggle. I know everything about this place. I know about the core. You know, I know about the state of Texas. I know about the state of Louisiana. I know about the history and traditions here. I know about John David Crow and all the things that come and all the history and the great players that win, all the great players that preceded this crew. So it's an easy interview for me, so I'm going to come off well in the interview. So, you know, I came in with that in mind. I obviously highlighted those things. I knew the offense that they were going to run. At this point in my career, I think I've worked at 8 different places. And so I obviously know the game of football. So there's not a lot that can be thrown at me in an interview that I'm not going to know the answer to. And then as I sat in the room, just my chemistry with Coach Sumlin, my chemistry with Coach Mazzone and the rest of the staff. And I think that's half of it. When you get a guy that knows the game, a guy that can recruit, and you have chemistry in the staff, it's obviously a good fit.
Cover?
What have you seen from? Sorry. What have you seen from Eric McCoy? I think.
Talk to me about the Chicago head first. I'm a Boston Red Sox fan. You know that, right?
I had a buddy that pitched for me, and nothing I can do about it.
Okay. You see, now you're kind of being disloyal right there. You should have been loyal to.
I'm sorry, man.
All right, what's your question?
Eric McCoy, center. What have you seen from him?
Eric McCoy. I don't know that there's a lot of guys that football means a lot more to. This is a guy that exudes his love of the game. And he's going to have a great career here. He's young. He hasn't played in a game yet, okay? And he's obviously our starting center right now. And he's as coachable a kid as there is. He's smart. He's hard-working. He's the first one in, last one to leave, all of that. So he challenges me upstairs. He wants to watch the tape with me. And it's not like, you know, I don't like guys that put the apple on the desk. You know, I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. He's a legit tough guy, and he's going to do a great job for us. It's important to him, and he knows what it takes. You know, as much physically as mentally.
How's Coda Martin coming along?
Very well, very well. He is as athletic a player as there is. He's got the reach. He's got the height. He's got all the measurables. He's fast, and so he's got the foot speed to play that position. And his thing is just getting reps on reps on reps. You know, when I first got the job, I call all their mom and dads on the phone. So I get the mom on the phone. And then, of course, Coda's dad is a high school football coach. He's a great high school coach. And so I was thinking, I said, well, I said to myself, Coda's got so much talent that I can pretty much move him around. And then as I was talking to his dad's like, he played defensive line in high school. So as soon as he said that, it just hit a nerve on me. It said, hey, he's got no experience, so you can't put him at more than one position right now. So I moved him out to the tackle position, let him learn that position, and I think that's really helped his development because he's not worried about playing other positions. And obviously, you know, we're going to need him to play right tackle for us. So his development is critical. He's a long way away, but he's taken huge strides. And the biggest thing with him is it's important to him. He loves the game as well, and he's smart. So things are going to work out for him.